Introduction, the declaration of war. Look around you. Everything seems calm, right? You are sitting, perhaps having a coffee, reading these lines in the apparent safety of your daily life. There are no bombs falling. There are no soldiers patrolling your street. There are no alarm sirens. But it is a lie. It is the most dangerous illusion you have ever believed. The reality is that you are in the middle of a brutal combat zone. You are under siege. You have been under siege since the day you reached the age of reason. And worst of all, you are losing the war. You are losing it because you didn't even know you were fighting. You have signed a peace treaty with an enemy that has no intention of letting you live in freedom. You have accepted the occupation of your territory as if it were normal. Who is this enemy? It is not the government. It is not the economy. It is not your boss, nor your partner, nor your parents. Those are just secondary actors. Distractions. The real enemy is an invisible sniper who has established his base of operations in the most impregnable place in the universe, behind your own eyes. The enemy is that subtle voice that whispers to you at 3 a.m. that you are not enough. It is the feeling of paralysis that invades you just when you are about to make a brave decision. It is the doubt that makes you postpone your dreams for someday. It is the sabotage that destroys your relationships and your finances just when they begin to improve. It is the part of you that prefers to be a comfortable victim rather than a responsible king. Sun Tzu, the great Chinese strategist, said, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. The problem is that you do not know your enemy. You believe that this enemy is you. You have confused the voice of the invader with your own voice. You have confused the fear of the parasite with your own prudence. You have let a usurper sit on the throne of your mind and dictate the laws of your reality." This book is not a self-help manual to make you feel better about your slavery. I have not come to offer you comfort, nor hugs, nor cheap, positive thinking. This book is a declaration of war. It is a manual of psychological insurgency. It is a treatise on military strategy, applied to the bloodiest battlefield that exists, the human psyche. We are going to unmask the traitor. We are going to cut his supply lines. We are going to hack his communications, and we are going to recover inch by inch the sacred territory of your will. The peace of mind you seek so much is not achieved by meditating under a tree while ignoring the conflict. Real peace is only achieved through total victory. Peace is what remains when the enemy has been annihilated. Get ready. Sharpen your mind. Harden your heart against self-pity. Today you break the treaty. Today you stop negotiating with internal terrorists. The truce is over. Welcome to the art of internal war. Chapter 1, The Invisible Enemy. Anatomy of the Saboteur. Welcome to the battlefront. But do not look at the horizon. Do not search for trenches, tanks, or barbed wire out there. The battlefront is in the synapses of your neurons. The enemy has already crossed the gates. In fact, the enemy has been sleeping in your bed and eating from your plate since you can remember. The first rule of war is, you cannot kill what you cannot see. And the reason you have lost all your battles until today, the battle for discipline, for wealth, for self-esteem, is because you believe the enemy is you. You believe you are lazy. You believe you are fearful. You believe you have bad luck. You have been deceived. You have been the victim of the most sophisticated intelligence operation in biological history. Today we will perform a live autopsy. We will separate the flesh from the bone. We will separate your true essence, the general, from your false personality, the saboteur. This pain is the price of your freedom. The biological Trojan horse. To understand the enemy, we must first understand its origin. You are not defective. You are, biologically speaking, too successful. Your brain is not designed to make you happy. It is not designed for you to be a millionaire or have spiritual enlightenment. Your brain has a single priority: keeping you alive. The enemy, whom we will call the saboteur, is an archaic software program installed in your limbic system. Imagine your ancestors in the African savannah. If they assumed a noise in the bushes was the wind, but it was a lion, they died. If they assumed it was a lion and ran, they survived, even if it was just the wind. You are the descendant of the paranoid and the fearful. The saboteur is that hyperactive defense mechanism. Its motto is, "The known is safe, the unknown is death." 50,000 years ago, this was useful. Today, leaving the cave means starting a business or leaving a toxic job. But your saboteur does not know it is the 21st century. When you feel fear of success, it is not you. It is the saboteur trying to protect you from the risk of being seen, judged, or expelled from the tribe. The saboteur prefers you to be a living mediocre rather than a dead hero. In the modern world, that protection is a prison. What once saved your life today kills your soul. The voice of the psychopathic roommate. How does this enemy operate? Through the mental radio, the constant flow of compulsive thoughts. Imagine you have a roommate who walks behind you all day and never shuts up. You are choosing clothes, and he says, "That looks bad on you. You're fat." He says, "Your boss hates you." He says, "Don't even try, they will reject you." If that voice were a real external person, how long would it take for you to kick them out or call the police? Minutes. You would say, "This guy is a toxic psychopath." However, because the voice sounds inside your head, you believe it is yours. You believe it is the truth. You spend your life debating with the psychopath. The first strategic step in this war is dissociation. You must understand this viscerally. You are not the voice of your mind. You are the one who hears the voice. You are the observer. The voice is a secretion of the brain, just as saliva is a secretion of the mouth. You do not say, "I am my saliva." Why say, "I am my thoughts"? The saboteur lives in the narrative. You live in consciousness. The moment you can say, "Look, there is the saboteur again saying I won't be able to," you have won the first battle. You have created separation. You have turned on the light and seen the cockroach. The saboteur's arsenal. Fear disguised as logic. The saboteur is cunning. It doesn't always speak with obvious fear. Its favorite weapon is rationalization. It disguises fear as prudence, logic, or realism. Example, you have an idea for a business. You feel the fire of inspiration. Immediately the saboteur acts, but it does not say, "I am afraid." It says, "The market is too saturated right now. You don't have enough capital. What if you neglect your family? Don't be selfish." It sounds reasonable, right? It sounds smart. It is a trap. It is fear in a tuxedo. It is existential terror disguised as financial analysis. The saboteur will use your own intelligence against you. You must learn to detect the flavor of the saboteur. The guidance of the true self feels expansive, like a vibrant yes. The guidance of the saboteur feels contractive, heavy, and oppressive. It feels like a no disguised as maybe later. If it makes you feel small, it is the enemy, no matter how logical the arguments are. Addiction to familiar suffering. The saboteur is a junkie, and its drug is familiar emo chemistry. Your body is a chemical laboratory. Every emotion releases a specific mixture of peptides and hormones. If you have spent 20 years feeling like a victim, your cells have become addicted to that specific chemistry. Your receptors need their daily dose. When you try to change and be sovereign, you cut the supply of the old drug. Your cells enter withdrawal. They send an emergency signal to the brain. "Hey, we lack the chemistry of suffering. Do something to make him feel bad again." Then the saboteur looks for a problem. If there are no real problems, it invents them. It provokes a fight with your partner or makes you remember a past trauma. This explains self-sabotage. Why do you ruin things when they go well? Because going well feels chemically strange. Going poorly feels chemically familiar. The saboteur prefers a known hell to an unknown paradise. The upper limit problem. We all have an internal thermostat of how much love, success, and money we allow ourselves to tolerate. This was set by your saboteur in childhood. Let's say your money thermostat is at $2,000 a month. If you suddenly earn $5,000, your subconscious enters red alert. The saboteur thinks, "This is dangerous, people will be envious." It executes emergency protocols to bring you back to your safety zone. You get sick. You lose your wallet. You behave like an idiot with a client. You spend money on stupid things. Soon, you are back to $2,000. You feel a strange relief. Your goal in this war is to break the thermostat and tell the saboteur, "I am safe being rich." Wetiko, the spiritual parasite. From a mystical perspective, the enemy becomes even more sinister. Native Americans spoke of Wetiko, a mental virus or psychic parasite that infects the human mind. The saboteur acts as a parasitic entity. Every time you get depressed or feel like a victim, you are serving an energetic banquet to the parasite. This changes the rules of the game. It is no longer just psychology, it is spiritual hygiene. When you realize that your suffering is feeding something that is not you, a dignified rage arises. I will not feed you today. That refusal is a potent act of war. Joy and sovereignty are poison for the wetico. It cannot digest them. Identifying the enemy's masks. The saboteur is a master of disguise. Here are its most common masks. The perfectionist. It's not ready yet. Fear of being judged. The imposter. Who do you think you are, or fear of occupying your space? The victim. It's not my fault. Avoids responsibility. The hedonist. Do it tomorrow. Avoids the pain of growth. The spyglass technique. Tactical observation. To win this war, you need military intelligence. Do not try to stop thinking. That is impossible. What you will do is observe without reacting. Imagine you are a sniper on a hill. You see enemy soldiers, negative thoughts, passing through the valley. Your job is not to run down and fight them. Your job is to look and identify them. Identified scarcity thought. Heading north, I will not fire, react, let it pass. If you react emotionally, you have given it reality. You have been captured. If you observe coldly, you take away its power. The saboteur needs your emotional cooperation to function. If you deny it emotion, it becomes impotent. Naming to tame. In ancient magic, knowing the true name of a demon gave you power over it. You must name your saboteur, but do not choose a scary name. Give it a ridiculous name. Call your inner voice the parrot, the whiner, or the incompetent intern. When it starts attacking you with doubt, say internally, "Wow, there's the whiner again with his dramas. Thanks for your opinion, but the adults are working. Go back to your corner." Humor is the acid that dissolves the ego. By ridiculing it, you create a distance between you, the sovereign, and it, the buffoon. Chapter 2. The Battlefield, the Illusion of the Outside. Welcome to the Situation Room, Commander. If you are going to win this war, you first have to know where on earth you are fighting. And I have bad news. You have spent your entire life deploying your troops on the wrong map. You have spent tons of emotional ammunition. You have sweated blood. You have shouted, cried, and worked yourself to exhaustion. And yet the front line has barely moved. Your finances remain unstable. Your relationships keep repeating the same toxic patterns. Your peace of mind remains fragile. Why? Is it because you are weak? No. It is because you are a stupid general who is bombing a mirage. The number one strategic error of humanity is believing that the external world, what you see, is the cause. You believe your empty bank account is the cause of your stress. You believe your partner's attitude is the cause of your unhappiness. You believe the economic crisis is the cause of your failure. You believe the battlefield is out there, in the office, on the street, in the news. Today I'm going to give you the ultimate military intelligence. There is nothing out there. The external world is not a solid territory. It is a movie screen, and you have been shouting at the screen, trying to clean bloodstains with a rag. You try to clean the movie with a rag on the white cloth, while the projector continues to roll the same bloody tape behind you. The war is not won on the screen. The war is won in the projection booth. Today, we are going to perform a tactical retreat. We will pull all your soldiers out of the physical world. We will retreat to the only place where you have real power, your internal world. The law of the mirror, fluid mechanics. Let's start with the basic physics of this reality. The universe is a high-fidelity quantum mirror, but it has a quirk. It works with a slight delay, the time lag we will discuss later, but its reflection is inexorable. Imagine you wake up, go to the bathroom, and look in the mirror. You see a dirty face and a frown. What do? The asleep human strategy is to try to clean the mirror. You rub the glass, you scream at the reflection, "Smile, damn it, clean yourself." You fight the reflection. You struggle. You get frustrated because the reflection does not change. It seems crazy, right? No one would do that in a bathroom. But that is exactly what you do when you try to change your financial situation by working more hours without changing your scarcity mindset. That is what you do when you try to change your partner by scolding them without changing your internal belief that I am not valued. The mirror has no initiative or free will. The mirror is a slave to the image. If you, the internal cause, do not smile first, the mirror, the external effect, cannot smile. It is physically impossible. If you do not feel wealthy internally first, the world cannot show you wealth. The external battlefield is a trap. Every minute you spend trying to manipulate matter is lost. Every minute spent trying to force physical situations is a minute you gift to the enemy. The saboteur wants you to fight outside, because while you fight outside, you are distracted, and while you are distracted, he continues to control the projector inside your mind, playing the same horror movie on a loop. The echo and the voice. Think of reality as a huge canyon. You shout, "I hate you." The echo responds, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you." You, hearing the echo, get scared and shout again, "Why do you hate me?" The echo responds, "Why do you hate me? Hate me, hate me." Most people live reacting to their own echo. They think the echo comes from others. They do not realize it is their own voice bouncing off the walls of time and space. If you want to change the echo, you have to change the voice. You have to shut up, stop reacting to the world, and emit a new sound. You have to shout, "I am powerful," and wait. At first, you will still hear the old echo because sound travels slowly. But if you maintain your new shout, the echo will inevitably change. Internal warfare consists of disciplining the voice, your internal state, regardless of what the echo, current circumstances, is still saying. It is the discipline of ignoring evidence, the tyranny of the senses. This is where most soldiers desert. Your senses, sight, hearing, touch, are double agents. They are designed to inform you about the physical environment for biological survival. Don't get burned, don't fall. But they are terrible informants for the creation of reality. Your senses can only report the past. What you see right now is the fossilized light of your creations from yesterday. If you look at your bank account and see balance €5, your eyes tell you the physical truth. But if your mind accepts that image as the definitive truth, you are screwed. By accepting the image, you print that order in your subconscious. Your subconscious says, "Understood." The commander says, "We are poor. Execute poverty program for tomorrow." And you create more poverty. It is a closed cycle of negative feedback. To win the war, you have to become delusional in a controlled way. You must look at the €5 balance and say, "This is a lie. This is old data. The truth is my vision of abundance." You have to trust what you imagine, mind's eye, more than what you see, eye of flesh. This requires brutal training. It goes against millions of years of evolution, but it is the only way to break the cycle. The sovereign commander does not report reality. He dictates it. Tactical retreat, the pratyahara maneuver. In classical yoga, there is a concept called pratyahara, the withdrawal of the senses. In military terms, it is pulling back the lines. You are overextended in enemy territory. Your attention is scattered in the news, on Instagram, in your neighbor's opinion. You are giving away your vital energy. You are bleeding out. The order of the day is, cut the supply to the outside. Stop watching the news. It is enemy propaganda to keep you in fear. Stop arguing with people who do not understand you. That is wasting ammunition on ghosts. Stop obsessing over the how and when things will change. Retreat to your inner bunker. Close your eyes. In there, in the darkness of your skull, is where you have absolute control. In there, no one can contradict you. If in there you say you are king, you are king. There is no resistance. Your job is to build an internal fortress so solid that the external world has no choice but to surrender and mold to it. Physical reality abhors a vacuum. If you create a strong enough internal reality pressure, the external reality collapses and implodes to fill that mold. You don't have to make it happen. You have to be the one who makes it happen. Internal pressure breaks external dams. The myth of objectivity, you are the projector. Modern science, quantum physics, has already proven it. The observer affects the observed. There is no objective reality out there waiting to be discovered. There is a soup of quantum probabilities waiting to be decided. You are the projector. Your brain emits an electromagnetic frequency. That frequency organizes the atoms of your life. If your frequency is fear and victim, You organize atoms into situations of abuse and loss. If your frequency is gratitude and power, you organize atoms into situations of luck. The saboteur tells you, be realistic. You reply, I create the facts. Being realistic is the direct path to mediocrity. The great conquerors, inventors, and millionaires were never realistic. They all imposed an internal vision over an external reality that said, it can't be done. Steve Jobs was not realistic. They warped the reality field with the mass of their internal conviction. You have that same power, but you use it to perpetuate your misery by being realistic. The problem-solving trap. This is a counterintuitive concept that will be hard to digest. Trying to solve a problem usually perpetuates the problem. Why? Because to solve a problem, you have to focus on it. You have to think about the debt to pay it. And where you put your attention, you put your energy. Mother Teresa once said, I will never attend an anti-war rally. If you have a pro-peace rally, invite me. She understood the dynamic. Anti-war is still war, vibration of conflict. Pro-peace is a vibration of harmony. If you fight your debts, the debt grows strong. Your identity merges with the struggle. The strategy of the mystical general is to ignore the enemy until he starves to death. Do not ignore necessary physical action, pay your bills, but withdraw your emotional attention from the problem. Do not give it a gram of your fear. Treat the debt with indifference while your focus is 100% on creating wealth. Focus on the solution, the money flow, not the problem, the whole. What you resist persists. What you ignore vibrationally disappears. The shadow in the mirror, other people. And what about people? Are they real? Yes, but in your experience, they are supporting actors. In deep psychology, what irritates you most about others is an aspect of yourself you haven't recognized. If your boss disrespects you, it is because you don't respect yourself at a deep level. Your boss is just the actor hired by the universe to show you your own lack of dignity. If you fight your boss, you will be fired and find an identical boss at the next job, because you carry the script with you. To win that battle, you must retreat and work on your radical self-respect. You must reach the point where you respect yourself so much that it is vibrationally impossible for someone to disrespect you. Then, the miracle happens. Either your boss changes suddenly, or you find a better job without looking. The mirror changes when you change. Stop trying to change people. It is violence, Ange. The ambush of time, the delay. This is where rookie soldiers fall. They do the internal work. They feel rich and powerful for one day. They wake up the next day, look in the mirror, reality, and see nothing has changed. The saboteur screams, see, it's a scam, give up. And they give up. You must understand the law of delay. Time lag. Physical reality is dense. It is like moving a supertanker. You turn the rudder, change your mind today, but the ship, your life, takes a few miles to physically turn due to inertia. That interval between the turn of the rudder and the turn of the ship is the death zone. It is the perfect ambush. That is where the war is won or lost. The internal warrior keeps the rudder turned, faith and focus, even if the ship seems to keep heading for the rocks. He knows it is a matter of physics. The ship will turn. But if you get scared and turn the rudder back, you cancel the turn. Keep the course, ignore the delay. Persistence is the only virtue the mirror respects. The neutrality of circumstances. There are no good or bad events on the battlefield. There is only data. Rain is not bad, it is just water. It is bad if you wanted the beach. It is good if you are a farmer. Firing is not bad. It is the end of a contract. It is bad if you have fear. It is good if you wanted to start a business. The saboteur is a labeling machine. This is terrible. Each label is an emotional load weighing down your backpack. Your strategy must be radical neutrality. Look at the battlefield and say, it is what it is. Without judgment, without drama. When you remove the label, you remove the power to hurt. You turn it into raw material. A general does not cry because it rains. A general thinks it's raining. Good. We will use the mud to slow down the enemy cavalry. Turn every circumstance, no matter how terrible it seems, into a tactical advantage. That is mental alchemy. The illusion of solidity. I'm going to ask you to do an exercise. Hit the table. It hurts, right? It seems solid. Physics tells you that table is 99.99999% empty space. They are atoms vibrating at high speed. The sensation of solidity is an electromagnetic illusion, field repulsion. Your problems seem solid, your debt seems like granite. They are not. They are probability clouds. They seem solid because you have frozen them with your constant gaze of fear. If you withdraw your attention and change your frequency, the rock becomes liquid. Reality is much more plastic than you've been told. I have seen tumors disappear and bank accounts fill. Everything is malleable for the one who refuses to accept the solidity of the obstacle. The external battlefield is not made of stone, it is made of clay, and you are the sculptor. But you cannot sculpt if you are afraid of getting your hands dirty or if you believe the clay rules over you. Chapter 3. Cutting the Supply Lines, the Attention Diet. Welcome to the Naval Blockade, Commander. In the previous chapters we identified the enemy, the Saboteur, and defined the battlefield, your internal world. Now the real offensive begins. But we are not going to fire a single bullet yet. We are going to do something much more cruel and effective. We are going to starve the enemy. An army marches on its stomach. Without food, ammunition, or fuel, even the most fearsome army in the world surrenders in a matter of weeks. Your internal saboteur, your fears, your traumas, your negativity, is a formidable army. But it has a fatal weakness. It is not self-sufficient. It cannot generate its own energy. It is a parasite. It needs a host. And that host is you. The only food that keeps your fear, your anxiety, and your failure alive is a golden and precious substance that you stupidly give away every second of the day. Your attention. Your attention is the most valuable currency in the universe. It is more valuable than Bitcoin, gold, or oil. Where you put your attention, you put your life. Where you put your attention, reality collapses and solidifies. And until today, you have been the greatest financier of your own internal terrorism. You have been investing millions of dollars of attention in Fear Inc. You have invested in Drama Corp. And then you are surprised that these companies dominate your economy. Today we turn off the tap. Today we impose total economic sanctions on your negativity. Today begins the attention diet. The physics of attention, feeding the beast. Let's understand the quantum mechanics of this. Energy flows where attention goes. This is not a pretty Instagram phrase. It is a mechanical law. Every time you think about a problem, you are giving it a blood transfusion. You are giving it your vitality so that it can continue to exist. Imagine that your fear is a rabid stray dog that appears at your door. If you give it a steak, attention, emotion, the dog eats, gets strong, and stays to live on your porch. Tomorrow it will bring its friends, more fears. If you go out and shout at it, struggle, resistance, the dog also stays. It stays because you have given it interaction. For the ego, hatred is as nutritious as love. The only thing it cannot stand is indifference. If you simply do not open the door, if you radically ignore it, the dog will bark for a while, get tired, and go look for food elsewhere. Your mind is full of rabid dogs you fattened. Your obsession with your ex, your worry about the crisis, your resentment toward your father, your fear of getting sick, these are monstrous pets that you feed every day with the kibble of your focus. They are the size of Godzilla because you have been feeding them for years. The strategy is simple but painful. Radical indifference. You have to withdraw your attention from everything you do not want to see grow in your garden. If you water the weeds just like the roses, do not complain about the jungle. The heist of the century, the attention economy. We live in the attention economy. The richest companies in the world do not sell products. They sell your attention to advertisers. They have hired the best behavioral engineers and neuroscientists to hijack your dopamine system. They are in alliance with your saboteur. Every time you do an infinite scroll on social media, you are giving away your power. You are letting external algorithms program your subconscious mind. What do you see? Horror news, fear. Perfect people, comparison, envy, political arguments, anger, division. It is a free buffet of poison. You are filling your headquarters, your mind, with enemy propaganda. How are you going to win the internal war if your mind is saturated with external noise? It is impossible. A general cannot direct a battle if in his tent there are 50 televisions on with gossip and catastrophe channels. The first step of the attention diet is an informational blockade. Turn off the news. If something important happens, you will find out. Stop following people who make you feel insufficient. Leave toxic WhatsApp groups. It is not isolating yourself from the world. It is protecting the perimeter. Your mind is a sanctuary, not a public dump. Do not let anyone throw their trash there. Social vampirism, other people's drama. This is where it hurts. Sometimes the enemy's supply providers are your friends or your family. Do you have that friend who always calls you to tell you her misfortunes? Do you have that relative who always talks about illnesses and politics? They are attention vampires. Every time you listen to their complaints and nod, yes, how terrible, poor thing, you are paying with your energy. And worse yet, you are vibrating at their frequency. To empathize with a victim, you have to lower your frequency to the victim level. You are contaminating yourself. You are validating their reality of failure and therefore inviting failure into your own reality. In times of war, you have to be ruthless with your time. You cannot afford diplomatic meetings with emotional terrorists. Cut them off. Tell them, I love you, but I'm not going to talk about this problem anymore. Let's talk about solutions, or let's talk about something else. If they get angry, let them get angry. Your priority is your mental sovereignty. If you surround yourself with 5 complaining losers, you will be the 6th. It is mathematical. The grey rock technique, internalized. There is a psychological technique for dealing with narcissists and psychopaths called the grey rock method. It consists of being so boring, so flat, and so lacking in emotional reaction that the narcissist loses interest in you and leaves. You are going to apply this to your own demons. When the saboteur throws an intrusive thought at you, you're going to fail, you're a fraud. Your usual reaction is panic, bright red, or struggle, fire. That gives it energy. Your new reaction will be to be a grey rock. Respond, aha, interesting theory, what's for dinner? Total boredom, zero emotional involvement. Treat your fears as if they were a persistent telemarketer. Do not hang up with fury. Do not argue. Simply say, I'm not interested, thanks, and go on with your business. By not getting the chemical reward, your adrenaline or cortisol, the thought weakens. The neural connections that sustain that fear atrophy from lack of use, negative neuroplasticity. Literally, you are killing the brain circuit of fear through starvation. The complaint fast. Complaining is the lowest form of prayer. When you complain, you are declaring, I am a victim and I have no power to change this. You are affirming the reality you do not want. You are using your attention to sculpt a statue of garbage. I challenge you to a 7-day complaint fast. The rules are simple. You cannot verbalize any complaint about the weather, traffic, pain, money. If a complaint slips out, you have to immediately rephrase it into something positive or a solution. Complaint, what a shitload of traffic. Rephrasing, thanks that I have a car and AC, I'll listen to an audiobook. You cannot listen to others' complaints without cutting them off or leaving. You are going to realize that you are addicted to complaining. You are going to realize that 80% of your social conversations are based on uniting through shared suffering. It is pathetic. Warriors do not complain. Warriors evaluate the situation and act. If you eliminate the complaint, you release a brutal amount of energy that you previously wasted on whining. That energy is now available to create. The focus is a laser weapon. The difference between a 100-watt light bulb and a 100-watt laser is the focus. The bulb scatters the light, it barely heats. The laser concentrates the same light on a point, it can cut steel. Your scattered mind, multitasking, social media, worries, is a weak bulb. It illuminates nothing. Your focused mind, attention diet, is a laser. When you withdraw your attention from distractions, it's not that you have more attention, it's that you have it all together. You can direct that laser beam at a single objective, your purpose. Imagine applying all the energy you wasted to your business. Imagine applying that energy from fear, gossip, and news to your body. The results would be explosive. Napoleon Hill said, organized effort produces power. The attention diet is the organization of your mental effort. It is gathering all your troops that were drunk in the town bars and forming them. The withdrawal syndrome. The extinction burst. I have to warn you. When you stop feeding the monster does not die in silence, it screams. In behavioral psychology, this is called an extinction burst. It is what a child does when they see their parents ignoring their tantrum. They scream louder, kick, break things. The child tries to escalate the conflict to force a reaction. When you start the attention diet, your saboteur is going to go crazy. Your fears will become more intense for a few days. You will feel a strange anxiety. I need to look at my phone. You will feel an existential void, boredom. Your body will ask you for its dose of drama. Do not yield. This burst is the sign that it is working. It is the sign that the enemy is desperate. He is starving and using his last reserves to try to make you obey him again. If you weather the storm, the enemy collapses. If you maintain the grey rock during this critical period, the mental peace that follows the death of the saboteur is indescribable. Selective ignorance, the art of not knowing. We have been taught that knowledge takes up no space and that we must stay informed. Lie. Knowledge takes up space in your mental RAM. Being informed of things you cannot control is a form of masochism. Sherlock Holmes said the brain is like an attic with limited space. He refused to know that the Earth revolved around the sun because that data did not serve him for solving crimes and took up useful space. Adopt selective ignorance. Be proudly ignorant of celebrity gossip. Be ignorant of Twitter controversies. Be ignorant of your ex's life. Protect your hard drive. Or only allow information that is 1. Useful for your mission. 2. Inspiring for your soul. 3. Necessary for your immediate survival. Everything else is spam. Delete it without reading. The practical exercise, the 7-day mental fast. This exercise was originally proposed by Emmett Fox in the 1930s. It is the basic training for the special forces of the mind. It is simple, but it is the hardest thing you will do in your life. The challenge. For 7 consecutive days, you cannot allow yourself to harbor a negative thought for more than 7 seconds. Note the difference. It doesn't say you won't have negative thoughts, you will. The saboteur is still alive. It says you cannot harbor them. You cannot invite them to dinner. When the negative thought arises, I won't be able to pay, you have 7 seconds to detect it, grey rock, cut it, substitute it. If you stay ruminating on the negative thought for more than 7 seconds, you have lost. The counter resets to 0. You have to start day 1 all over again. Most people take months to complete 7 straight days, but if you achieve it, you will have rewired your brain. You will have changed your vibratory base point. You will have starved the old patterns and fed the new ones. Attention is love, even hatred. Remember this always. Attention is love. At a quantum level, paying attention to something is telling the universe, I want more of this. If you hate corrupt politicians and spend the day talking about them, the universe understands. You love the topic of corruption. Here is more for you. If you hate your illness and spend the day researching symptoms, the universe understands. You are fascinated by illness. Take more. To win the war, you have to learn to hate with indifference. That is, you have to stop hating and start ignoring. The greatest contempt you can show an enemy is not shouting at him. It is not looking at him. It is acting as if he did not exist. It is walking through him as if he were smoke. That is the attitude of the king. The king does not argue with the beggar who insults him. Chapter 4. Forging the Sword. Discipline as Devotion. Welcome to the forge, Commander. Feel the heat. Feel the noise of the hammer striking the red-hot metal. It smells of sulfur and sweat here. This is where the children are separated from the kings. In the previous chapter, you starved the enemy by cutting off his supplies. Attention. Now you have a reserve of free energy. But energy without form is useless. It is like steam, it has power. But it disperses into the air if you do not channel it through a piston. You need a tool to direct that energy toward the heart of reality and transform it at your will. That tool is the sword. The name of that sword is discipline. I know what you're thinking. Upon reading the word discipline, your saboteur has had a spasm. He has imagined punishment, school, nuns, pain, boredom, slavery. We have been sold discipline as a prison. We have been told that being disciplined is doing what you don't want to do. That is the discipline of a slave, and you are right to hate it. But I am not talking to you about that. I am talking to you about the discipline of a king. The discipline of a king is not a punishment. It is an act of extreme devotion. It is the ability to love your future self so much that you are willing to sacrifice comfort. Discipline is not a cage. Discipline is the master key that opens the cage of your animal impulses. Without a sword, you are a victim of your instincts. With a sword, you are the master of your destiny. The myth of liberty, slaves to impulse. We live in the society of do what you feel. If you don't feel like it, don't do it. Flow. Be kind to yourself. This hedonistic philosophy is the saboteur's perfect trap. They have made you believe that freedom is being able to eat the hamburger whenever you want, sleep late and spend money whenever you want. That is not freedom. That is physiological slavery. If you cannot say no to the hamburger, you are not free. You are a slave to your ghrelin and your insulin. If you cannot say no to Netflix to work on your project, you are a slave to your dopamine system. If you cannot control your anger, you are a slave to your amygdala. The man who does what he feels is a puppet of his biochemistry. He is an animal reacting to stimuli. True freedom is the ability to not do what you feel. It is the ability to feel a desire, laziness, hunger, lust, and say, I see you, I feel you, but I do not obey you. My loyalty is with my mission, not my momentary sensation. Forging the sword means sharpening your will until it can cut the chains of your own biological impulses. Steel does not argue killing the negotiator. The greatest enemy of discipline is a character who lives in your head, the negotiator. He appears right at the moment of action. The alarm goes off at 6 a.m. to go to the gym. You had decided the night before, the general decided, that you would go. But at 6 a.m. the general is asleep and the negotiator wakes up. And the haggling begins. It's cold outside. Yesterday you worked very hard, you deserve to rest. If you sleep an hour more, you'll be more productive later. Better we go tomorrow and do a double session. The negotiator is persuasive. He uses logic. He uses false self-love. Take care of yourself. If you enter into a debate with him, you have already lost. You cannot win a debate with your own weakness because it knows all your weak points. The only way to defeat the negotiator is to not negotiate. Steel does not argue with the hammer. You have to adopt a binary strategy. The decision was made yesterday. Today it is only executed. When the alarm sounds, do not ask yourself, do I feel like it? The question is irrelevant. No one cares if you feel like it. The universe does not care about your mood. It cares about your movement. Eliminate the option of not going. If the option does not exist in your mental menu, the negotiator remains mute. Discipline becomes easy when the option of not doing it disappears. Tapas, the sacred fire of friction. In the yogic tradition, there exists the concept of tapas. It means heat or friction. It refers to the heat generated when you go against your habitual patterns. When you want to eat the sweet and you abstain, you feel an internal burning, an anxiety, a tension. Normal people run from that burning. They call it suffering. The warrior seeks that burning. He calls it fuel. That heat is the dross burning away. It is weakness leaving the body. When you are on the last repetition of the set and your muscles tremble, that is tapas. When you are sitting working on your book and you want to check your phone, that is tapas. That moment of friction is the only moment in which you are growing. Everything before was maintenance. Growth occurs in the fire zone. You have to learn to love the friction. Do not avoid it. Get into it. Tell the pain. Burn me. Burn my laziness. Burn my mediocrity. Turn me into pure steel. Discipline is the art of staying in the fire voluntarily until the transformation is complete. Pain is information. Suffering is a choice. One must distinguish between pain and suffering. Pain. It is a nerve signal. My muscles have lactic acid. My stomach is empty. It is neutral information of high intensity. Suffering. It is the story you tell yourself about the pain. I can't take any more. This is horrible. Poor me. Suffering is resistance to pain. If you accept the pain, if you observe it with curiosity, wow, what an intense sensation in the quadriceps. The suffering disappears. Only the pure sensation remains. The Navy SEALs have a rule. When your mind tells you that you are done, you are only at 40% of your real capacity. The Saboteur activates the end of energy alarm very early to reserve resources, survival. But you have an immense reserve tank. Discipline teaches you to ignore the first alarm, and the second, and the third. It teaches you to access the second wind. There beyond the pain is where you find the runner's high, the clarity of fasting, the power of deep work. Devotion. Whom do you serve? If discipline is only willpower, it will eventually break. Willpower is a small battery you need to connect to the nuclear power grid. You need devotion. Why is a mother able to lift a car to save her child? Out of discipline? No. Out of love. Why does an artist spend 15 hours painting without eating? Out of love for their work. Sustainable discipline is not born from I have to. It is born from I love this so much that I cannot not do it. Ask yourself, what am I serving? If you go to the gym because you hate being fat, you will last a month. It is negative energy. If you go to the gym because you love your body and want to turn it into a temple of power to serve your mission, you will last a lifetime. It is positive energy. Your discipline is your daily offering to your vision. Every time you say no to the cake, you are saying I love you to your healthy version. Every time you say no to distraction, you are saying I respect you to your masterpiece. See discipline as a sacred ritual. You are not a slave breaking stone. You are a priest building a cathedral. The effort is the same, but the attitude changes everything. The tactic of the one-inch punch, micro-discipline. Sometimes the task is so large that the saboteur paralyzes you with fear. I have to write a 300-page book. Blockage. Here we apply the tactic of the one-inch punch, like Bruce Lee. Maximum power at the minimum distance. Do not focus on the book. Focus on writing one sentence. Do not focus on losing 20 kilos. Focus on the next meal. Discipline is not a marathon. It is an infinite series of short sprints. You only have to be disciplined now. The later does not exist. Can you go without checking your phone for the next 5 minutes? Yes, do that. When those 5 minutes pass, renegotiate for another 5. Build discipline with microscopic victories. Start by making the bed. It seems stupid, but it is fundamental. If you make the bed every morning, you have won the first battle of the day. You have imposed order over chaos. You have told your mind, I rule here. I decide how the day begins, not laziness. That small victory releases dopamine and gives you inertia for the next task. A successful life is simply an accumulation of successful days. A successful day is an accumulation of micro-tasks well done. Identity. I am the type of person who... James Clear in Atomic Habits explains it perfectly. Discipline is not about what you do, it is about who you are. If I offer you a cigarette and you are trying to quit, you can say, A. No thanks, I'm trying to quit. B. No thanks, I'm not a smoker. Option A is someone who identifies as a smoker. They are making a sacrifice, they will fall soon. Option B is someone who has changed their identity. A non-smoker does not need willpower to not smoke. They simply do not smoke. It is what it is. To forge the sword, you have to change your self-image. Stop saying I'm lazy but trying to go to the gym. Start saying I am an athlete, and athletes train rain or shine. When you adopt the identity, the action flows naturally. The saboteur will attack your identity. Who are you trying to fool? You will respond with actions that confirm the new identity. Every time you train, you are casting a vote. The ritual versus the routine. Routine is mechanical. Robots do it. At 8 I clock in, at 5 I leave. It bores. It kills the soul. The ritual is intentional. Magicians do it. Transform your routines of discipline into rituals of power. Do not limit yourself to just working. Prepare your space. Light a candle. Put on headphones with specific music for work. Drink your coffee from your war mug. Turn the start of the activity into a ceremony of transition. Tell your brain, when I do this ritual, we enter the zone. The ritual hacks the saboteur. The saboteur becomes hypnotized by the ceremony. Before he realizes it, you are already working. Great writers, athletes, and military men have obsessive rituals. They are not quirks. They are neurological activators of discipline. Create your own ritual of entry into the flow state. The daily sharpening, the law of entropy. The sword does not keep itself sharp. The law of entropy says that every system tends toward disorder if energy is not injected into it. Your room tends to get messy. Your body tends to get fat. Your mind tends toward negativity. Discipline is not something you achieve one day. It is a struggle against gravity. I showered yesterday. Why do I have to shower today? It sounds ridiculous. I trained yesterday. Why do I have to train today? It sounds just as ridiculous to the warrior. Discipline is mental hygiene. You have to sharpen the sword every day. If you fail one day, the sword is nicked. If you fail 2 days, the sword rusts. If you fail 3 days, you have to forge it again from scratch. Never fail twice in a row. We all have a bad day. The general can lose a battle, but he does not lose the campaign. If today you fell and ate junk, do not say, "Well, I've already lost the week, I'll keep eating poorly until Monday." That is a loser's mentality. The warrior says, "I have fallen, situation cut, the next meal will be perfect." Recover command immediately. The sharpening is constant. Delayed gratification, the economic superpower. There is a famous experiment, the marshmallow test. They put children in front of a treat and told them, "If you don't eat it in 15 minutes, I'll give you 2. They followed those children for 40 years. Those who were able to wait, delayed gratification, had more success in everything. The ones who ate the sweet instantly, instant gratification, had mediocre lives full of problems. The ability to postpone pleasure is the #1 predictor of success. Your saboteur is the child who wants the sweet now. Your warrior is the adult who knows a feast tomorrow is better. Train this. Do you want to buy that whim? Wait 24 hours. Do you want to respond to that message with anger? Wait 1 hour. Do you want to ejaculate? Wait. Transmute. Get used to living with temporarily unsatisfied desire. That tension accumulates power. Invest for the long term. The solitude of command. I have to warn you of a side effect of forging the sword. You are going to feel alone. Most people live in indiscipline. They live in complaint, in instant gratification, and in victimhood. When you start getting up at 5 a.m. reading and working on your empire, you become an uncomfortable mirror. Your discipline insults their laziness. They will tell you you're obsessed. You're not fun anymore. You have to enjoy life. Remember, enjoying life for them is getting drunk to forget they hate their life. Enjoying life for you is building a life that you don't need to forget. Do not lower your standard to fit in with them. It is better to walk alone as a lion than to walk accompanied as a sheep. Over time, you will attract other lions, but the crossing of the desert is done alone. Embrace that solitude. It is the sign that you are ascending. Chapter 5. Psychological Warfare. Hacking the Subconscious. Welcome to the engine room, Commander. You have secured the perimeter and sharpened your weapon, but there is a serious structural problem. You are operating a state-of-the-art battleship with the software of a broken tricycle. Your conscious mind wants to win the war. It wants wealth, freedom, and power. But your subconscious mind has been programmed for decades to lose. It has been programmed for fear, scarcity, and submission. Neuroscience tells us that 95% of your life is governed by the subconscious. You believe you decide what you eat or how much you earn. Lie. Those decisions are made milliseconds before in your brain. They are based on programs installed when you were 5 years old. The conscious mind only justifies the decision after the fact. If you try to win this war with only willpower, you will lose. It is like trying to stop a speeding freight train by putting your hands out. It will crush you. Discipline runs out, willpower tires. To win, you need to change the direction of the rails. You need to go down to the basement and hack the system. Today, we will learn the art of self-induced brainwashing. Society has brainwashed you to be a pawn. Now you are going to brainwash yourself to be a king. The captain and the engine room. Imagine a giant ocean liner. On the bridge is the captain, you. The captain is smart and sees the destination, but the captain does not move the ship. The ship weighs tons. Those who move the ship are the engine room operators, subconscious. They are below, sweating. They do not see the sea, they only obey orders. The problem is that for years the captain has been drunk or asleep, and someone else has gone to the bridge and shouted, "Full power toward the iceberg." The operators, obedient and blind, have set a course for disaster. Now you grab the helm and shout, "No, to paradise." But the operators do not believe you. They have been receiving orders to go to the iceberg for 20 years. They are used to that route. They sabotage the engines to return to the old course. Psychological warfare consists of retaking authority over the engine room. It is not enough to suggest a change. You have to go down there with a gun and show who is in charge. You have to reprogram the crew through brutal repetition and emotional authority. Internal propaganda, the power of the decree. In a real war, pamphlets are dropped over enemy cities to demoralize them. You are going to do the same, but in reverse. You are going to bombard your subconscious with victory propaganda. The tool for this is not the soft, positive affirmation. The subconscious laughs at weak desires. The tool is the decree. Our decree is a military order. It does not ask for permission. Weak affirmation, "I hope to have money someday." The crew hears, "We are poor." War decree, "I am wealth. Money is my slave and serves me right now. This is my non-negotiable reality." When you emit a decree, you must do it with authority. Imagine the voice of a god. The subconscious is like a dog. It smells fear. If you hesitate, it will bite you. If you give the order with absolute conviction, it will sit and obey. It does not matter if you don't believe it at first. Fake it till you make it. The subconscious does not care about truth. It cares about intensity and repetition. The hammer of repetition, brute force hacking. How did you learn to walk? Repetition. How did you learn that you are worthless? Repetition. The subconscious learns by repetition hypnosis. A lie repeated 1,000 times becomes an operative truth. Your saboteur has used this against you all your life. Now you will use brute force. Choose 3 key decrees for your life. Repeat them like a maniac, while you shower, while you drive, while you exercise. Look in the mirror and shout them at yourself. At first, your logic will rebel. "This is ridiculous. Look at your bank account." Ignore logic. Logic is superficial. You are drilling through rock. Blow after blow, one day the resistance will break. Suddenly the decree will enter. You will feel a click. You will no longer have to repeat it because you will be it. You will have rewritten the code. The crew will have accepted the new map. Emotional charge, the fuel of the code. A thought without emotion is like a car without gas. It does not move. You can repeat, "I am rich" 1,000,000 times. But if you feel boredom or doubt, nothing will happen. The language of the subconscious is emotions. Words only serve to focus the emotion. To hack the system, you have to feel what you say. But how to feel rich if you are poor? Using active imagination. Remember a moment when you felt powerful or relieved. Amplify that sensation in your chest. Turn up the volume. And when you are at the peak, launch the decree. Associate the emotion of victory with the phrase, "You are making a neurological anchor." You are sticking the new software with super strong emotional glue. If you cannot generate positive emotion, use holy rage. Anger is a very potent transforming energy. Use your fed-up state. Enough. I refuse to live this way. I rule here. That explosion kicks open the doors of the subconscious fortress. The RAS, hacking the radar. Your brain has a filter called the Reticular Activating System, RAS. It is the gatekeeper of your consciousness. You receive millions of bits of info per second. The RAS decides what passes and what is ignored based on what you consider important. If you buy a red car, you suddenly see red cars everywhere. They were always there, but your RAS ignored them. Now they are important. If your base belief is the world is hostile, your RAS will block opportunities and show you only problems. Psychological warfare consists of reprogramming the RAS. When you decree wealth, you give new instructions to the gatekeeper. Suddenly the world changes. You see an ad you previously ignored. You notice an investment. You start to have luck. It is not magic. It is programmed selective attention. You have hacked the radar to detect gold instead of trash. Night operations, the theta state. There are two moments when the doors of the subconscious are wide open. They are the vulnerability zones, just before falling asleep and just upon waking up. In these moments, your brain fluctuates in theta waves. It is the state of deep hypnosis. What you think in those 10 minutes goes straight to the core. What do most people do? They look at the phone or review the day's worries. They program themselves for anxiety. Your night war tactic, phone forbidden in bed. Use those last minutes for command visualization. Close your eyes, review your decree, visualize your goal accomplished, feel the relief. Fall asleep with the feeling of victory. You are giving your crew the work instructions for the night shift. While you sleep, your subconscious will work on seeking solutions for that order. You will wake up with ideas and energy. To fall asleep worried is to pray to the devil. To fall asleep victorious is to pray to God. Subliminal audio's silent infiltration. If the saboteur is very strong and argues with your conscious decrees, you can use stealth tactics. Subliminal audios. These are recordings where decrees are hidden below the conscious hearing threshold but are caught by the subconscious. Record yourself saying your decrees with an authoritative voice. Mix it with the sound of rain. Lower your voice volume until it is a barely perceptible whisper. Play it while you sleep. Your conscious mind will hear rain and offer no resistance. Your subconscious will hear, "I am a genius. Money chases me." It is like leaving a back window open while the guard watches the front door. Mental diet hunting automatic thoughts, ANTs. Psychologists call recurring negative thoughts ants. One ant is not a problem. An anthill under your house collapses the foundations. You must become an exterminator. You cannot afford the luxury of a free negative thought. Every negative thought you accept is another brick in the wall of your prison. The stop technique. Wear a rubber band on your wrist. Every time you catch yourself thinking poorly of yourself, snap. Pull the band and let it go. Let it sting. Physical pain interrupts the neural pattern. Immediately shout internally, "Cancelled," and substitute it with the opposite thought. At first, you will have a red wrist. You will realize how infested your mind is. But over time, your brain will stop sending those thoughts to avoid the punishment. You are training your mind like a dog. It sounds cruel. It is. It is a war. And in war, one does what is necessary to survive. The evidence dossier, the folder of truth. The saboteur has a giant file called Your Failures. He uses forensic evidence to paralyze you. You are going to create a counter file, the victory dossier. Buy a small notebook. Each night, write 3 victories you had that day. I got up on the first alarm. I handled that difficult call calmly. When the saboteur says, "You are useless," you open your notebook and say, "Objection. I have written evidence of 300 victories in the last 3 months. You cannot fight a feeling with logic. You must fight it with data. When your brain sees the accumulation of written successes, it changes its self-image. Placebo effect is you. Medicine has proven that if you give someone a sugar pill and tell them it is a potent cure, the body heals itself. The body manufactures real chemicals based on a false belief. That is pure magic. It means belief alters biology. You are the patient and the doctor. Administer mental placebos every day. Tell yourself the water you drink is an energy elixir. Tell yourself the work you do is making you a millionaire. If you believe the positive lie with enough strength, it becomes biological truth. It is not self-deception. It is choosing the most useful truth. Choose the one that gives you the most ammunition. Chapter 6, Dangerous Alliances. The Shadow Recruitment. Welcome to the dungeon, Commander. Until now we have operated in the high towers of the castle. Attention, discipline, conscious programming. All of that is very clean, very noble, very Jedi. But an army is not composed only of knights in shining armor who follow a code of honor. It requires something more. An army, to win dirty wars, and life is a dirty war, needs special forces. It needs spies, saboteurs, mercenaries, and siege beasts. You have those forces. They live in the basement of your psyche. Psychologists call it the shadow. It is the part of you that you have rejected, repressed, and hidden away for years. Society, your parents, or religion told you it was unacceptable. Your anger, your selfishness, your unbridled ambition, your wild sexuality, your aggressiveness, your arrogance. They taught you that to be a good person, you must kill these dragons. They taught you to be meek, harmless, and compliant. And that is why you are weak. That is why you get stepped on. That is why you don't close sales or set boundaries. You have castrated your own army. You have locked your best warriors in prison because they scare you. Today we are going to commit a necessary tactical imprudence. We are going to open the cells. We are going to go down to the basement, look the monster in the eye, and instead of killing it, we are going to offer it a job. Because a monster on the loose destroys the village, but a monster under your orders conquers the empire. The good boy syndrome, psychological castration. Let's start by tearing down the biggest myth of modern civilization, the virtue of being harmless. We have been programmed to believe that being good means having no capacity to cause harm. Being the good child who doesn't shout, shares toys, and doesn't get angry. The result is castrated adults. Jordan Peterson explains it masterfully. A harmless rabbit is not virtuous, it's just harmless. If you lack the capacity to be dangerous, your pacifism is not a moral choice. It is a biological inevitability. You are a victim waiting to happen. True virtue consists of being a monster and having it under control. Having a sharp sword and choosing to keep it in the scabbard, that is power, that is morality. Anything else is simply cowardice disguised as ethics. Your shadow contains your ability to be dangerous. It contains your killer instinct, metaphorically. If you repress it, you become passive-aggressive and resentful. Anatomy of the shadow, the treasure in the mud. Carl Jung said, "I'd rather be a whole man than a good man." Wholeness requires the integration of light and dark. What have you thrown into the basement? Aggressiveness. If you got angry and were punished, you learned anger is bad. Now you are unable to defend yourself or negotiate a high salary. Sexuality. If you were made to feel shame for your desires, you repressed your eros. Now you lack creativity and magnetism. Selfishness. If you were forced to always share, you learned thinking of myself is bad. Now you are a doormat who lives to please others. Ambition. If they said don't ask for too much, you settled. These are not bad things. They are primal energies. They are nuclear reactors. Anger is high-octane fuel. Lust is the energy of creation. Selfishness is self-preservation. The problem is not the energy, it is the direction. A flooded river destroys houses. A channeled river generates electricity for a whole city. The cost of repression, the beach ball. Imagine trying to keep a giant beach ball under the water. It requires constant effort. You have to be pushing down all the time. That is what you do with your shadow. You spend 50% of your vital energy simply on not looking bad. Maintaining the fake smile. Swallowing your spit when you want to scream. What happens when you get tired? The ball shoots upward with explosive force. Those are your irrational outbursts of anger, your binging, your infidelities, your burnout. The shadow always wins. If you don't invite it to the table, it will come to destroy the banquet. By recruiting it, you stop pushing the ball. You release that energy of containment. Suddenly, you feel light. You feel authentic. You no longer have to pretend to be a saint. You are a complete human being with light and darkness, and you do not apologize for it. That authenticity is magnetic. People trust real humans who know their own demons. Sacred rage, the fuel for change. Let's talk about rage. Cheap spirituality tells you that anger is low vibration. Lie. Anger is boundary energy. Anger arises when a limit is violated or an injustice is perceived. It is the immune system of the psyche. If you see someone mistreating a child, what do you feel? Rage. Is that rage bad? No. It is sacred rage. It is the force that moves you to intervene and protect. If you look at your life, your empty bank account, and your neglected body, what should you feel? You should feel rage, a fierce indignation. This is unacceptable. I deserve more. I refuse to continue like this. That anger is the starter motor for change. Sadness keeps you in bed. Anger gets you up. Use your shadow to destroy your limitations. When you feel lazy, invoke your rage. Get angry with your own weakness. Be aggressive with your excuses. A passive warrior is a corpse, an angry warrior is a force of nature. The internal predator, killer instinct. In business, sports, and war, you need to access your predator archetype. Not to prey on others, but to hunt your goals. The predator is focused, silent, patient, and decisive. He feels no guilt when he attacks. If you are afraid of your own internal predator, you will hesitate at the key moment. You will hesitate when asking for the closing of a sale. You will hesitate to set a boundary with an abuser. The saboteur will say, "Don't be aggressive." You must respond, "I am not bad, I am effective." Look at great CEOs or elite athletes. They have that look, they have the fang, they know when to bite. Recruit your inner wolf. Tell him, "I need you." When we enter the negotiation room, you take command. I want you to smell the fear and close the deal. Then when we go home to the family, you go back to your corner. It is a tool. Use it. Strategic selfishness, the oxygen mask. We have been taught that altruism is the ultimate virtue and selfishness is sin. But on planes, they tell you, put your oxygen mask on first before helping others. Why? Because if you pass out, you serve no one. You become a burden. Strategic selfishness is the basis of real generosity. If you are not well, you cannot give anything of value. You can only give what you have in abundance. If you give what you lack, you generate resentment. Look at everything I did for you, and this is how you pay me. That is not love. It is manipulation. Your shadow is right. You are the most important thing in your universe. Shield your time. Protect your energy. Say no to the demands of others to say yes to your mission. At first, they will call you selfish. Accept it. Yes, I am selfish. I am building something big, and I need my resources. When I finish, there will be fruit for everyone. Meanwhile, do not disturb. Sexual transmutation, creative energy. Napoleon Hill discovered that the most successful men had a very strong sexual nature. But they did not waste it on cheap conquests. They transmuted it. Sexual energy is the desire for physical creation. If you channel that desire into a mental or business project, it becomes genius. It gives you charisma and tenacity. Many repress their sexuality out of shame. Others waste it compulsively to relieve tension. The warrior uses the tension. When you feel a strong sexual impulse, do not judge it. Tell that energy, "Welcome. You are pure power. Let's use this fire to write or to train." The pact with the devil voice dialogue. How is this done in practice? It's not a metaphor. You have to talk to your repudiated parts. Use the voice dialogue technique. Sit in a quiet place. Put an empty chair in front of you. Invoke a part of your shadow. For example, rage. Imagine it sitting there. What does it look like? Ask it, "Why are you here?" Switch chairs. Sit in the chair of rage. Become it. Respond from rage. Let it speak. It might say, "I'm here because you're a coward. You let everyone step on you." Go back to your general chair. Negotiate. "I hear you. We need boundaries. Give me strength to speak firmly, and I promise not to stay silent next time." When you give the shadow a voice, it stops sabotaging you from the unconscious. It feels heard. It integrates. It becomes an ally. Control your schizophrenia. It is deep healing. Darkness as the background for light. A painting done only with white light is a blank canvas. To have definition, depth, and beauty, you need black shadows. Your personality is the same. A person who is all love and light is flat and fake. A person who has integrated their darkness has depth. They have gravity. When you enter a room, people should feel you are capable of being kind, but also capable of being terrible if necessary. That latent threat is what generates instinctive respect. Do not trust someone who is not capable of being evil. Trust someone who is capable and chooses not to be. That is morality. The archetype of the Dark King. The ultimate goal of integrating the shadow is to access the Dark King archetype. He is not a tyrant. He is a ruler who knows the depths. He is the leader who is not afraid to make hard decisions for the greater good of the kingdom. The good boy cannot make hard decisions because he wants to be liked. The Dark King doesn't need to be liked. He needs the kingdom to prosper. Accept being the villain in someone's story if it means being the hero of your own life. You must be willing to be hated and misunderstood. If the fear of being bad paralyzes you, your shadow owns you. If you act, you own it. Chapter 7. The Fog of War, Navigating Confusion. Welcome to the dead zone, Commander. Look around you. What do you see? Nothing. Smoke, dust, shadows, static noise. Your GPS has stopped working. Your maps no longer match the terrain. The euphoria of the war's beginning has vanished. The clarity of discipline has become blurred. You have advanced, you have fought, yet everything seems to have gone to hell. Your results have worsened. You feel more lost than before you started. You doubt everything. Was I wrong? Am I crazy? Should I go back? The saboteur, who seemed defeated, laughs in the dark. I told you so. This isn't for you. Go back to safety. Stay calm, breathe, do not move. You are not failing. You are experiencing the fog of war. It is the state of total uncertainty that descends upon the battlefield once the shooting starts. No plan survives contact with the enemy, and no identity change survives contact with reality without passing through a phase of absolute chaos. If you are confused, if you feel the ground opening under your feet, I have good news. It means you are winning. It means you have destroyed the old structure so effectively that you are now walking on the rubble. The problem is that you haven't built the new structure yet. You are in the void. You are in the transition. This is the most dangerous moment. This is where dreams die. This is where cowards turn around. You will learn to see in the dark. The physics of collapse, why chaos is necessary. Let's understand the engineering of transformation. You have declared, I am rich or I am a leader. But your physical and neuronal reality was built on the foundations of I am poor and I am a follower. To build a skyscraper where a shack once stood, you cannot just paint the shack, you have to demolish it. You have to put dynamite in the foundations and blow it to pieces. That generates noise, dust, debris, and disorder. During demolition, the site looks much worse than before. Before you had a house, now you have a pile of stones. It looks like a setback. Your senses scream, alert, we are worse off. We have lost the house. This is the fog. It is the phase of destructuring. The universe is rearranging the pieces of your life to fit your new frequency. Sometimes that means you get fired. Sometimes your partner leaves you. Sometimes you feel depressed and empty because your old ego is dying. If you panic and try to rebuild the shack, you abort the mission. You must have the stomach to live among the rubble for a time. You have to trust that the architect, you or God, has the plans for the skyscraper, even if you only see dust now. The terror of the void, between two trapezes. Imagine you are a trapeze artist. You have let go of the safe bar, which is your old identity. You are flying through the air. But the next bar, your new identity, has not yet reached your hands. You are in the air, without support, without gravity. That moment of suspension is terrifying. The reptilian brain hates the void. It prefers to grab a burning nail than to be floating in nothingness. In this phase, you will feel a brutal biological urgency to do something, to fix it, to fill the silence. It is the anxiety of transition. The fog of war blinds you to test your faith. Do you really believe in your vision, or only when you see immediate results? Anyone can be a brave general when the sun shines and the enemy flees. The true general is proven when he is surrounded, without ammunition or radio, and yet remains calm. Your job in the fog is not to fix the chaos. Your job is to hold the stance. It is to stay in the void without screaming. Let the old identity die completely. The dark night of the soul. Mystics call this the dark night of the soul. It is a chemical and spiritual depression. Everything loses meaning. What used to motivate you no longer moves you. Your old hobbies bore you. Your old friends seem like strangers. You feel alone in the universe. Do not run to the doctor for pills. Understand it is a symptom of identity withdrawal. Your neurons are disconnecting the old highways. The dopamine you obtained from your previous life has been cut off, and the new neuronal highways are not yet paved. You are in no man's land. The dark night is not an error. It is a chrysalis. The caterpillar, before being a butterfly, dissolves into a biological soup. You are the soup. Do not try to be a caterpillar again. You can't. Do not try to force being a butterfly. You don't have wings yet. Just be soup. Surrender to the process of dissolution. Rest, sleep, cry if you must, but do not go back. Tactical paralysis: when you can't see, don't run. In the middle of thick fog on a mountain, the number one rule of survival is, if you don't see the path, do not walk. If you run blindly, you will fall off a cliff. The instinctive reaction to confusion is anxious hyperactivity. I have to do something. I'll send 50 emails. I'll call everyone. That is running in the fog. It is the fastest way to plunge. When the fog of war descends, the correct order is tactical stillness. Stop. Secure your position. Stop making big decisions. Do not sell the company. Do not get divorced. Do not move countries in the middle of a panic attack. Wait for the fog to lift. It always lifts. This inaction is not laziness. It is discipline of containment. It is the ability to endure the tension of not knowing what to do without doing stupid things to relieve that tension. It is staying still while the world turns and your mind screams. By staying still, you conserve energy. You become an observer. Often, by not reacting compulsively, the chaos orders itself around you. The mud in the water settles if you stop stirring it. The OODA loop, your compass in chaos. Colonel John Boyd developed the concept of the OODA loop to win air combat in situations of extreme chaos and speed. You can use it to navigate your internal fog. OODA stands for Observe, Orient, Decide, Act. Observe. Stop judging and start collecting raw data. What is really happening? I feel anxious, the balance is dropping, my client cancelled. Just facts, no drama, no victim story. Scan the terrain like cold radar. Orient. This is the key. Recalibrate your internal compass. Where is north? What is your mission? Go back to your decrees. Remember who you are. I am the general of my life. This is just turbulence. Filter the observed data through your new identity, not your old fears. The client cancelled because a better one is coming. Decide, don't make 5-year plans. In the fog, you can only see 2 meters ahead. Take a micro decision. I am going to make 1 call. I will write 1 page. I will do 10 push-ups to change my state. Choose a small action that moves you in the right direction. Dissects. Execute the micro decision with violence of action, without hesitation. Break the paralysis with a physical movement, and start the cycle again. Observe the result. Reorient. Decide. Act. The OODA loop keeps you in controlled movement. It prevents you from freezing and prevents you from running wildly. Intuition, the night vision. Your logical eyes do not work in the fog. Logic needs clear data, precedence, and visibility. In chaos, there is no data. If you try to solve your existential crisis with logic, you will block yourself. You need to turn on your night vision goggles. That vision is intuition. It is high-speed subconscious intelligence. It is the scent of the veteran soldier who knows there is an ambush even if he sees nothing. In the fog, you have to stop thinking and start feeling. What does your gut tell you? Do you feel expansion or contraction regarding this decision? Logic says, take that job, you need money. Intuition says, wait, something smells wrong. In the fog, intuition is the only reliable navigation system. Intuition does not give you the full map, it only lights up the next step. Take a step to the right. You take it. Now wait. You wait. Trust those irrational signals. They are your connection to the infinite intelligence that sees the terrain from above, the universe's bluff test. Sometimes the fog of war is a deliberate test. It is the universe playing poker with you. You have said, I have absolute faith in my wealth. The universe says, oh yeah, let's see if that is true. I am going to take your money away temporarily. Do you still have faith now? It is a cosmic bluff. If at the first sign of trouble you collapse and cry, you have failed the test. You were a fake. Your faith depended on circumstances. If you remain stoic and say, this is an illusion, I am still rich, I don't buy your bluff. The universe smiles, throws down the cards and hands you the pot. The fog filters out the imposters. Massive success is protected by fierce guardians. Confusion and chaos are the guardians. They are there to ask, how much do you want it? Are you willing to walk through fire for it? If you answer yes with your actions by maintaining the course, the doors open. The danger of regression. returning to Egypt. In the Bible, when Moses leads the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt and into the desert, the people begin to complain. In Egypt we were slaves, but at least we had food. Why have you brought us here to die? Let's go back to Egypt. They prefer known slavery to uncertain freedom. You will feel this temptation. You will feel the temptation to call your toxic ex or go back to your depressing job because it gives you security. Do not go back to Egypt. If you return, you will die spiritually. If you return, you will have admitted that freedom is too big for you. Your old life will no longer serve you. The cage will feel more suffocating. Burn the ships. Make return impossible. Tell yourself, I prefer to starve in the desert seeking the promised land than to die fat and enslaved in Egypt. That determination is what makes manna fall from the sky. The silence of God. The most terrifying thing about the fog is that it seems your spiritual connection has been cut. Before you felt synchronicities and magic. Now, radio silence. You pray and no one answers. You feel abandoned by the source. It is normal. It is like when a teacher gives an exam. During class the teacher speaks, but during the exam the teacher remains silent, not because he has abandoned you, but because you are in the middle of the test. You cannot ask for the answer. You have to prove what you have learned. God's silence is the sign that you are in the final exam. You are proving your mastery. Do not look for external signals. Be the signal. Do not look for God outside. Find him inside. Silence forces you to find your own internal authority. If God always spoke to you, you would be an eternal subordinate. By being quiet, he forces you to mature and become a God in your own right. The only for today strategy. In dense fog, thinking about the future produces anxiety. What will happen next month? You cannot know. Trying to guess is torture. Close the time horizon, live in 24-hour airtight compartments, or 1 hour. I only have to survive today. I only have to keep the faith today. I only have to be disciplined today. Tomorrow will be another problem. Any human being can bear any load if it is only for 1 day. What crushes us is adding today's load to the imaginary load of the next 10 years. Cut the time. Focus on the immediate step. Step, step, step. Suddenly, without realizing it, you emerge from the fog. Chapter 8. Tactical Deception. Acting as if. Welcome to the theater of operations, Commander. Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War. All warfare is based on deception. If you are strong, feign weakness, so that the enemy becomes overconfident. If you are weak, feign strength, so that the enemy flees. In the internal war, your enemy is the inertia of your old identity. Both the saboteur and the apparent rigidity of physical reality conspire to keep you small. They tell you, look at your results. You are a loser. Accept your place. If you accept that truth, you are dead. The only way to break the siege is through a massive tactical deception operation. You have to lie. Yes, you read that correctly. You have to lie with such audacity, intensity, and persistence that the lie collapses the structure of truth and replaces it. You have to pretend you have already won before the battle begins. You have to walk like a king, speak like a king, and dine like a king, even if your kingdom is still a vacant lot. This is not being fake. This is reverse engineering of reality. Reality does not create your behavior creates reality. Today we will learn the art of acting as if. We will learn to put on the mask of the hero until the mask merges with the skin and becomes your true face. The physics of the cosmic bluff. Imagine a poker game. You have a terrible hand, a pair of twos. Your opponent, the universe or the physical world, stares you down. He has the cards, the money, and the power. But you have something he doesn't expect. Audacity. You raise the bet. You put all your chips in the center. Your face is made of granite. Your eyes shine with a killer confidence. Your opponent hesitates. Does he have an ace, a royal flush? Fear enters his eyes. He throws down the cards. He folds. You win the pot with a pair of twos. Did you win by luck? No. You won by projection of certainty. Life is that poker game. People treat you based on how you treat yourself. Money flocks to those who are comfortable with it. Opportunities open for those who walk as if they own the building. If you wait to have the cards, actual success, to feel secure, you will lose. The universe waits to see your security before giving you the cards. It is a cruel paradox. You only receive what you don't need. Tactical deception is the tool to break this paradox. It is manufacturing the feeling of having in the void to force the universe to match the bet. The Stanislavski method. You are the scriptwriter. Konstantin Stanislavski revolutionized theater with his method. Before actors faked emotions, they made faces of sadness. It looked fake. Stanislavski said, "Don't fake, be. Search your emotional memory. Live the imaginary circumstance as if it were real. You are the lead actor of your life, but you are acting poorly. You play the role of the stressed victim because it is the script your parents gave you. You play it so well that you have believed the character. Now you are going to change the script. You are going to write the character of the conqueror, and you will apply the method. It is not about trying to look rich. It is about being rich in an imaginary circumstance. How does a man who just won 10 million euros sit? How does he breathe? How does he look at waiters? At what speed does he walk? Observe it. Copy it. Integrate it. When you enter a meeting, do not enter as you, the old insecure self. Enter as the character. At first you will feel it is a disguise, but if you maintain the performance 24/7, the brain, which is plastic, starts to rewire itself to adapt to the new role. The brain cannot stand cognitive dissonance. If you act like a winner and your brain thinks you are a loser, there is conflict. The brain then creates evidence to win. Enclothed cognition. Why do military personnel wear uniforms? Why do judges wear robes? It is not just for identification. It is applied psychology called enclothed cognition. What you wear changes how you think and behave. Studies show that if you put a white coat on someone and call it a doctor's coat, their attention and care increase. Use this in your war. If you work in pajamas from home, your brain thinks rest mode, sick mode, lazy mode. Your productivity will be garbage. If you shower, shave, and put on a suit, your personal battle uniform, even if you won't see anyone, your brain thinks professional mode, war mode. Your posture changes, your voice changes, your testosterone rises. Tactical deception starts in the closet. Dress for the job you want, not the one you have. Dress for the identity you want to embody. If you want to be a leader, stop dressing like a teenager. Use clothing as a state trigger. The general enters. Physiology hacks psychology. Your body is the remote control for your mind. Most people let their mind control their body. I feel sad, so I slouch. The warrior does the opposite. I put myself in a power pose, so I feel strong. Amy Cuddy showed that holding a power pose, arms open, chest out, for just 2 minutes yields massive biological changes. It raises testosterone by 20% and lowers cortisol by 25%. In just 2 minutes, it is a legal and free drug. When you feel fear or doubt, the saboteur attacking, do not try to think positive. It is useless to fight thought with thought. Use the body. Stand up. Put your hands on your hips in a Superman pose. Breathe deeply. Force a smile. The brain detects the smile and releases dopamine. Walk fast. You are hacking your biochemistry. You are sending a signal of everything is fine, I am the alpha, to your nervous system. Your mind, which is obedient to the body, will change its narrative from fear to confidence. The imposter syndrome, your growth compass. This is where most people stop. You start acting as if. You dress well, you speak with authority. Suddenly a cold voice whispers, "You are a fraud. You have no idea what you are doing. You're going to get caught." This is imposter syndrome. People think imposter syndrome is bad. Error. Imposter syndrome is the unequivocal sign that you are growing. You only feel like a fraud when you are operating outside your comfort zone. If you feel comfortable and legitimate, you are doing something that is already too small for you. When you feel like an imposter, celebrate. You are stretching your identity. Every great man and woman in history was an imposter at the beginning. No king is born knowing how to reign. He learns by reigning. No surgeon is born knowing how to operate. He learns by operating with fear at first. The world's dirty secret is nobody really knows what they are doing. Everyone is improvising. Everyone is acting as if until it becomes natural. The CEO of the multinational is afraid. The president has doubts. The difference is they do not let the feeling of being a fraud stop them. They act in spite of it. Accept being a temporary imposter to become a permanent master. Immersion in the environment, the set. An actor cannot perform well if the set is trash. If you want to be a millionaire but your house is a mess, full of dirt and broken things, your environment is screaming poverty to your subconscious 24 hours a day. Your tactical deception breaks because reality constantly contradicts you. Align your headquarters. You do not need money for this. You need order and aesthetics. Clean up, throw away the old. Repair what is broken. Create a space that breathes dignity. If you drink coffee, drink it from the best cup you have. Treat your environment with the respect you would give a palace, because it is your palace. Surround yourself with symbols of your new identity. If you want to be a writer, have books and an excellent pen in sight. You are creating a resonance chamber. You are designing a stage that tells your mind, yes, this is real. This is the house of a winner. When your environment validates your acting, deception is impenetrable. The language of the king erasing doubt. Words are spells. Your current language betrays you. You use weak words, slave words. I'm going to try. I wish I could. It's just that it's difficult. I can't afford. A king does not try. A king orders or does. A king does not wait for luck. A king creates strategy. Tactical deception requires linguistic reform. Eliminate try from your vocabulary. As Yoda said, do or do not, there is no try. Eliminate I can't. Substitute it with right now I choose not to, or how could I? Eliminate unnecessary apologies. Don't say sorry for bothering. Say thank you for your time. Speak slowly. Insecure people speak fast to avoid interruption. Lower the tone of your voice at the end of sentences. A descending tone equals authority. When you change how you speak, people instinctively change how they listen to you. They grant you authority before you have proven anything. The law of assumption, remembering the future. Neville Goddard taught that imagination is the true reality. His technique, living in the end, is the spiritual version of tactical deception. Do not ask for what you want. Assume you already have it. The exercise is simple but brutal. Travel mentally to the future where you have already won the war. How do you feel? Relieved, secure, grateful. Now bring that feeling to the present. Walk down the street today with the feeling of relief from having paid all your debts. Look at your partner with the gratitude of a perfect relationship. You are remembering the future. You are overlaying a quantum hologram. If you maintain that frequency, physical reality has no choice but to reorganize to match your hologram. It is the self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you are going to fall, you tense up and fall. If you believe you are going to fly, you relax and the wind carries you. Assume victory. Leave no room for defeat. The trial by fire, maintaining the frame. All of this is easy when you are alone in your room visualizing. The hard part is when you go out and the world slaps you. You launch the project and no one buys. You look at the account and there is an unexpected charge. The saboteur screams, "Fake! Look at reality, stop dreaming." This is the critical moment. This is where your frame is measured. The frame is your ability to impose your interpretation of reality over the facts. If you crumble and say, "It's true, I'm a failure," you have lost the frame. If you take the hit, bleed, but smile and say, "This is a temporary setback, I am still the king," you have kept the frame. The universe will test you. It will send reality checks to see if your performance is solid. Do you really think you're rich? Here, a €500 bill. Still feel rich now? If you get scared, you fail. If you manage the bill with calm and stay abundant, you pass. The universe says, "This guy is serious, I have to give in." The placebo effect is you revisited. Medical science hates the placebo because it messes up experiments. You should love the placebo. It is proof that the mind heals matter. You are your own placebo. Deceive yourself to heal. If you are tired, don't say, "I'm exhausted." Say, "My body is recharging at turbo speed." Even if it's an objective lie, by saying it, Your brain stops producing fatigue chemistry and seeks hidden reserves. I've seen people build empires while sick and broke, only because they refused to accept the diagnosis of defeat. They self-medicated with controlled delusions of grandeur. A little delusion is necessary for greatness. Detachment from the result, the actor's paradox. A good actor wants to do a great scene, but is not obsessed with whether they will get the Oscar. They are present in the scene. If you are acting as if, only to get quick money, desperation will show. Desperation smells bad. It repels success. You have to act as if for the pleasure of being that new person. Enjoy walking with confidence. Enjoy dressing well. Do it for yourself, not for the result. When you detach from the result and fall in love with the process of becoming your best version, the result comes running after you. Success pursues the one who does not need it, but embodies it. Chapter 9. Burning the Ships. The Absolute Commitment. Welcome to the shore, Commander. Look back. Look at the sea. There are your ships. They are beautiful, aren't they? They are your security. They are your plan B. They are your return ticket to the mediocre, comfortable, and known life you had before starting this book. They are floating there, waiting for you to get scared. Waiting for the war to get tough so you can run to them, climb aboard, and sail back home, where Mom will make you soup and tell you that, at least you tried. I have bad news and good news. The bad news is that as long as those ships exist, you are going to lose the war. The good news is that I have gasoline and matches. History tells us that in 1519, Hernán Cortés arrived on the shores of Veracruz with a suicidal mission, to conquer an empire with a handful of men. His soldiers were terrified. They were outnumbered by thousands to one. Fear began to spread. There was talk of mutiny, talk of returning to Cuba. Cortés knew that a soldier who thinks about retreat is a soldier who fights at half throttle, so he gave an unthinkable order. Sink the ships. Legend says burn, but the effect is the same, total destruction. Imagine the faces of those men watching their only escape route go to the bottom of the sea. In that moment, the psychology of the army changed radically. There was no longer an option to flee. There were only two options, victory or death. And when a human being faces that dilemma, they unlock reserves of power, ingenuity, and ferocity they didn't even know they had. They conquered the empire. You haven't conquered your empire yet because you still have your ships moored on the beach. You still have a plan B. And today, you are going to learn why having a plan B is the best way to guarantee the failure of plan A. The curse of the safety net. We have been raised in the culture of security. Study something with job prospects. Save just in case. Don't leave your job until you have another one signed. It seems sensible. It seems prudent. But in the internal war, prudence is poison. A safety net is not a trampoline that boosts you upward. A safety net is a spiderweb that traps you below. If you know that if you fail in your venture, you can always go back to living with your parents. Your brain will not strive at 100%. It will strive at 80%. That 20% difference is the distance between mediocrity and greatness. The human brain is an energy-saving machine. If an easy route exists, returning to the known, the brain will always try to take it as soon as it feels pain or pressure. If you eliminate the easy route, if you lock the door and throw the key into the volcano, the brain enters hyper-survival mode. The reticular activating system, RS, turns on like an anti-aircraft searchlight. Creativity skyrockets. Shyness disappears. You become unstoppable because you have to be. It is not a choice. It is a biological necessity. Necessity is the mother of invention, but controlled desperation is the mother of the miracle. Sun Tzu and the death ground. Sun Tzu identified 9 types of terrain in war. The last and most important is the death ground, CD. It is a place where there is no shelter, no supplies, and no way out. You are cornered. Sun Tzu advised, put your soldiers on death ground and they will fight like demons. If they know there is no escape, cowardice transforms. Cowardice transforms into desperate courage. You have been avoiding the death ground your whole life. You have been building financial and emotional cushions so as not to suffer. And that is why your battles are lukewarm. That is why your projects don't take off. Because in the back of your mind you know if it goes wrong, nothing happens. Burning the ships means putting yourself voluntarily on the death ground. It means creating a situation where failure has consequences so painful or unacceptable that success is the only logical path for your nervous system. You have to be more afraid of going back than of dying while moving forward. Plan B is a plan for premeditated failure. To have a plan B is to admit before starting that you do not trust plan A. It is a declaration of doubt sent directly to your subconscious. You are telling it, I'm going to try to be rich, but since I'm probably useless and going to fail, I'm going to keep this shutty job just in case. Your subconscious receives the message, understood. The real goal is security, not wealth. We will keep the shutty job as a priority. Arnold Schwarzenegger, in his famous speech on success, said, I hate Plan B. He explained that every second you spend thinking about Plan B is a second you steal from Plan A. You are dividing your forces. A divided army is a defeated army. If you want to write a novel, you cannot have being an accountant as Plan B in your mind. If you have it at the first blank page, your brain will say, how hard this is. I'd better do a spreadsheet, which is easy. If you have no Plan B, you will write, skin in the game. Nassim Taleb speaks of the concept of skin in the game. You cannot obtain asymmetric benefits, great victories, if you do not assume asymmetric risks. If you bet nothing, you win nothing. Many people want to entrepreneur without investing money. I want to do it for free, organically. That is fear. That is not wanting to burn the ship of money. If you don't invest money, it doesn't hurt. If it doesn't hurt, you don't commit. When you put $5,000, which cost you effort to save, into your business or your training, suddenly you pay fanatic attention. You get up earlier, you study more, you execute better. Why? Because it hurts to lose it. Burning the ship sometimes means investing in yourself until it hurts. It means paying for that expensive mentor. It means buying that professional equipment. It means emptying the safety savings account and injecting it into your dream. The saboteur will scream, you're crazy, you'll be left with nothing. Left. You will answer, exactly. Now I am forced to get it back multiplied by 10. I can no longer rest on my laurels. Money is energy. If you stagnate it in savings out of fear, it rots. If you throw it into the fire of investment, it generates heat and movement. Public commitment, shame as fuel. Another way to burn ships is to use social pressure. The saboteur loves secrecy. Don't tell anyone your plans just in case it goes wrong. That is protecting your ego. If you fail in silence, no one finds out, and your ego remains intact. It is an escape route. Burn that ship, make a radical public commitment. Tell everyone, your friends, your family, your social networks, what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. I'm going to run a marathon in 6 months. I'm going to launch my business on the 1st. I'm going to stop smoking today. Now, your reputation is at stake. If you fail, you'll be a loudmouth. The shame will be public. That fear of public humiliation is an incredibly powerful biological motivator. We are tribal animals. We fear losing status. Use it to your advantage. Entrench yourself in your promise. Force yourself to comply so as not to look like an idiot. Sometimes pride is stronger than discipline. Recruit your pride. The suicide of the old identity. Burning the ships is not just physical, money work. It is mainly psychological. You have to murder your past self. That insecure, lazy and complacent guy has to die. And you cannot leave his corpse in the living room. You have to incinerate it. This means eliminating the options of return. If you have left a toxic relationship, block the number, delete the photos, throw away the gifts. Do not leave an open door to be friends. Burn the bridge. If you have decided to be an athlete, throw away all the junk food in your house. Give away your XL clothes. If you keep them, you are planning to get fat again. If you have decided to be productive, delete the games from your phone. Cancel the Netflix subscription. Sell the console. Make it physically impossible or extremely difficult to go back to your old habits. If to relapse, you have to buy the console again and set it up. You will be too lazy and you won't do it. The sunk cost fallacy. The saboteur will tell you, but you've spent 10 years in this career relationship. You've invested a lot of time. You can't throw it all overboard. This is called the sunk cost fallacy. It is the economic trap of continuing to invest in a losing project just because you have already spent a lot on it. It's like continuing to eat a meal that tastes bad just because you paid for it. It's going to make you feel bad anyway. Stop eating. Burning the ships requires the coldness to say, I don't care if I studied law for 5 years. I hate being a lawyer. Those 5 years are already gone. I won't spend 40 years being unhappy. Cut your losses. Past time is dead. Do not let a corpse mortgage your future. Abandon the sinking ship even if it is a very expensive and luxurious ship. If it sinks, it sinks. Jump into the water. Fear of regret versus fear of failure. There are 2 types of fear. You have to choose which one will motivate you. Fear of failure. What if it goes wrong? What if I lose money? This fear paralyzes you. Fear of regret. What if I reach 80 and realize I never lived? What if I die being mediocre? This fear pushes you to burn the ships. Jeff Bezos uses the regret minimization framework. When he left his secure job on Wall Street to sell books on the internet, Amazon, he didn't think about the financial risk. He thought, when I'm 80, will I regret having tried this and failed? No. Will I regret never having tried it out of fear? Yes. Use the ghost of your future self. Imagine yourself old, sick and poor, looking back at this moment, looking at the moment when you had the chance to jump and didn't do it out of prudence. Feel the bitterness of that old person. Feel their hatred toward your present cowardice. That pain is unbearable. Use it. Providence moves with you. Goethe said, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. The universe seems to have a mechanical law. It rewards total commitment. While you doubt, the universe doubts. It gives you halfway results. When you throw yourself into the void without a rope, the universe usually puts a net there at the last second, or it teaches you to fly. Coincidences appear. The perfect partner appears. The money appears just in time. It is not magic. It is resonance. You have emitted an all-or-nothing signal, a pure signal, and reality responds with the same purity. The universe hates the lukewarm. It vomits the lukewarm. It loves the crazy, the passionate, the ones who burn the ships, because they are the only ones playing the game for real. The others are just watching from the stands. The loneliness of the incendiary. When you start burning your ships, people around you will panic. Your parents, your friends, your prudent partner. They will shout, "What are you doing? It's madness. Think of your future." Understand them. They are not attacking you. They are projecting their fear of freedom onto you. Seeing someone free reminds them that they are slaves to their own security, and that hurts. They will call you irresponsible. You just smile. Real responsibility is being true to your soul, not to your neighbor's expectations of security. Do not try to explain why the smoke is necessary. They won't understand. The point of no return. There comes a moment in the burning of ships when you cross the red line. You have left the job. You have invested the money. You have made the public announcement. There is no turning back. Physically, you cannot go back to yesterday. In that precise instant, you will feel 2 simultaneous things. Yes, an absolute vertigo, biological panic, and an electric, cold peace. That peace is the warrior's clarity. You no longer have to spend energy deciding, do I do it or not? It is already done. The decision is dead. Now only action remains. That mental silence is the most productive state in the world. There is no debate when you wake up in the morning. There is only one direction, forward. Because behind you there are only ashes and water. Practical exercise, the symbolic bonfire. Before burning your physical ships, perform a ritual to burn the mental ones. Write on a paper everything that serves as an excuse or plan B. If I fail, I ask my parents for money. If my business doesn't work, I go back to my old sector. I'm too young old, I can always wait. My shyness protects me. Write your old identities. I am a procrastinator. I am a victim. Go to a safe place, light a fire, read each paper aloud. Tell them, thank you for having protected me in the past. I no longer need you. Today I release you and I release myself. Burn them. Feel that option has physically disappeared from the universe. Chapter 10, The Sovereign State. Governing in Times of Peace. Welcome to the throne, Your Majesty. Sit down. Feel the weight of the crown. Look around you. The smoke of battle has dissipated. The burned ships are just a memory on the shore. The Saboteur has been subdued and now serves in the dungeons or has been exiled to the borders. You have conquered your mind. You have established discipline. You have hacked your reality. And now you what? You face the most luxurious and dangerous problem of all, peace. It may seem strange, but many warriors die right after winning the war. They die of boredom. They die of excess. They die of arrogance. Their nervous system, addicted to cortisol and the struggle, does not know what to do with the silence. And in that silence, if you are not careful, chaos can sprout again like a weed in a neglected garden. Winning the war requires strength, yang energy. Maintaining the peace requires wisdom, yin energy. You cannot govern a kingdom with a sword in your hand all the time. You will frighten your subjects, your emotions, your creativity, your joy. You have to learn to sheathe the sword and draw the scepter. You have to stop being a soldier and become a sovereign. The danger of victory, arrogance, hubris. In Greek tragedy, the hero never falls because of the enemy. He falls because of his hubris, excessive pride before the gods. When you begin to succeed, when money flows, the body changes, and people admire you, you run a mortal risk. You begin to believe you are invincible. You begin to believe you no longer need the basic tools that got you there. I no longer need to meditate today. I am the master. I no longer need to control my expenses. I am rich. The moment you think that, the saboteur smiles. He has found the crack. He disguises himself as deservedness. He whispers, "You deserve it. Relax, eat that, spend that. Shout at that employee, you are the king." And little by little you become a tyrant or a decadent. The empire collapses from within. The fall of Rome was not in one day. It was a slow erosion of civic discipline. To govern, you need strategic humility. Remember always that you are not God. You are the administrator of God's energy. If the energy stagnates or is corrupted by your ego, it will be taken from you. The sovereign knows that his crown is a loan, not a property. From struggle to flow, the nervous system shift. During the war, you operated in sympathetic mode, fight, flight, massive action. You used adrenaline as fuel. This is necessary to break inertia, but you cannot live there eternally. If you do, you will burn out your system or become a drama addict. The sovereign state is a parasympathetic state. Rest, digestion, flow. The king does not run through the palace corridors shouting. The king walks slowly. The king does not react to every rumor. The king listens, breathes, and decides with calm. You have to retrain your body to tolerate peace. At first, peace will feel like boredom or emptiness. Your brain, addicted to cheap dopamine, will ask for a crisis. Let's create a problem to feel alive. Do not do it. Learn to enjoy the low RPM. Learn to enjoy a sunset without taking a photo. Real productivity of the king is his clarity, not his frantic activity. One clear decision is worth more than 100 hours of fear. The mental constitution, laws, not impulses. A barbarian kingdom is ruled by the leader's whim. It is chaos. A sovereign state is ruled by a constitution, by written laws that are above even the king. You need to write your internal constitution. These are your non-negotiables. These are the rules that govern your life and are not subject to emotional debate. Examples of articles in your constitution. Article 1. Health is a priority. Train 4 days a week without exception. Article 2. Truth is sacred. No lying to avoid uncomfortable conflicts. Article 3. Finances are order. Save, invest 20% of all income before spending. Article 4. Time is sovereignty. No social commitments out of guilt. When you have a constitution, decision-making becomes automatic. Are you invited to a party you don't want to go to? You don't have to feel if you go or not. You consult the Constitution, Article 4. The answer is no. This releases a huge amount of mental energy. The law decides for you. The king submits to his own law. The royal court. managing the environment. Tell me who sits at your table, and I will tell you how long your reign will last. In the war phase, you sometimes had temporary allies. In the government phase, you need advisors. You cannot allow just anyone into your inner circle. If you allow jesters, flatterers, or energy vampires in, they will poison your ear. The sovereign is ruthless with court admission. You have to audit your friendships. The flatterers, they say yes to everything because they want something from you. They are dangerous, fire them. The cynics, they criticize everything you do because they envy your crown. They drain your energy, fire them. The loyal, the Praetorian Guard, those who tell you the truth to your face even if it hurts. Those who respect you but do not fear you. Those who have their own kingdoms and do not need yours. Stay with the loyal. Sometimes this means being alone for a while. The king's solitude is better than the company of parasites. Remember, you are the average of the 5 people you spend time with. If you are the smartest, richest, most conscious person in the room, you are in the wrong room. Seek other courts. Seek other kings who challenge you to level up. The treasury managing abundance. War was about getting. Government is about managing. Many lottery winners end up broke in 5 years. Why? Because they had the mindset of a warrior, hunt and eat, or a poor person, spend fast, not a king, accumulate and distribute. The energy you have conquered needs channels. If water stagnates, it rots. If it flows without control, it floods. You need irrigation channels. You have to learn about investment. You have to learn to say, I have enough. Greed is a disease of the warrior who never feels secure. The king knows he is abundant. Therefore, he is generous. But his generosity is strategic. He doesn't give alms to feel good. He invests in infrastructures that generate more wealth for everyone. He invests in his health and knowledge. The sovereign knows he is the kingdom's primary asset. Taking care of himself is not selfishness, it is maintenance of the state. Boredom as an ally, mastery. Here is the dirty secret of sustained success. It is boring. Being a millionaire is boring, looking at spreadsheets and saying no to stupid spending. Having a Greek god's body is boring, eating chicken and broccoli and lifting weights 1,000 times. Having a perfect relationship is boring. Your saboteur hates boredom. He wants the soap opera. The sovereign loves boredom. He understands that boredom is simply consistency. Bruce Lee said, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. That is mastery. You have to fall in love with repetition. You have to find Zen pleasure in washing the dishes, in doing the report, in the daily routine. There, in the repetition without drama, is where the diamond is polished. If you seek constant novelty, you will destroy what you have built. Consistency is depth. Eternal vigilance, the watchtower. Even if you have won the war, you cannot dismantle the army. The enemy, entropy, fear, unconsciousness, never sleeps. He only waits for you to turn off the light. The sovereign state needs a watchtower. You need early warning systems. How do you know if you are deviating? You need audit rituals. Daily audit, night. Have I lived today according to my constitution? Where did I fail? Just data, no guilt. Weekly audit, Sunday. Review of objectives, finances, and emotional state. Quarterly retreat. Get out of the routine. Go to the mountains or sea alone to see the big picture. If you do not audit, you deviate. A plane that deviates 1 degree from Madrid ends up in Africa instead of New York if it doesn't correct course. Constant correction is the key. Do not wait for a crisis to correct. Correct when the deviation is small. The king always has one eye open. The legacy governing for others. In the beginning, the internal war was selfish. You did it for you, to stop suffering, to have money, to feel powerful. That is fine. It is necessary. You cannot save anyone if you are drowning. But once you are the king, the I becomes too small. If you keep accumulating only for yourself, you feel empty. The purpose of the sovereign is the kingdom. It is to serve something bigger than his own ego. How can you use your power to elevate others? I'm not talking about forced charity. I'm talking about irradiation. Your mere presence, your example of freedom and discipline sets others free. When you shine, You give others permission to shine. You become a mentor, a father, a leader. Your legacy is not what you leave in the bank. It is the clarity and strength you leave in the minds of those who surrounded you. The king lives so that the kingdom is stronger when he leaves. The king's shadow, the tyrant and the weakling. Beware of the two negative polarities of the king archetype. The tyrant uses power to oppress, becomes paranoid, controls everything through micromanagement, excess yang. The weak king or prince has the crown but not the energy, lets the ministers decide, abdicates responsibility, excess yin. The true king is the wise king. He has power but uses it with love. He has sensitivity but uses it with discernment. He balances justice with mercy. He cuts off heads when necessary, toxic people, bad habits, but also organizes banquets and celebrates life. Maintain the balance. The diplomacy, the art of war without war. The best general is the one who wins without fighting. The sovereign prefers diplomacy to war. In the previous chapters, you learned to be aggressive with your blocks. Now you learn to be fluid. You no longer need to fight with reality. You no longer need to force things. You have such a level of internal authority that reality folds before you without violence. It is the concept of Wu Wei, effortless action. The king lifts a finger and the order is fulfilled, not because he shouts, but because his intention is clear. When a problem arises, do not react with the sword. React with the king's gaze. Interesting. Let's see how this resolves in my favor. Assume the problem is a rebel subject who will return to the fold. Do not give it your fighting energy. Give it your ordering energy. Calm is the ultimate superpower. Whoever loses their calm loses the crown. The expansion of borders. A kingdom that does not grow dies. But the sovereign's growth is not more things out of anxiety to have. It is growth in depth and impact. It is conquering new territories of consciousness. Perhaps you already mastered money. Good. How about mastering art or deep meditation? The human being is infinite. Do not get stuck in your past victory. Yesterday's trophy is today's dust. Set new challenges, but not challenges from lack. I need more to be happy, but challenges from play. Let's see how far my potential goes. The king is an eternal explorer. Conclusion: the crown is heavy. You have reached the end, Commander. The battlefield is silent. The enemies have been dispersed. Your flag flies on the highest tower of your mind. You have won. You are free. You are the sovereign. But before you close this book and go out to celebrate, I have to tell you one last truth. A truth that few will tell you because it doesn't sell courses or self-help books. The crown is heavy. Many people seek freedom thinking it is the end of effort. They believe that reaching the top means lying in a hammock and drinking cocktails for the rest of eternity. They are wrong. Slavery is light. You only have to obey. The slave does not have to think, does not have to decide, does not have to bear the consequences. If something goes wrong, it is the master's fault. Freedom, on the other hand, is infinitely heavy, because absolute freedom carries absolute responsibility. Now that you are the king of your mind, you no longer have anyone to blame. If your life does not work, it is no longer the fault of the government, nor your parents, nor the economy, nor your bad luck. It is your fault. If you feel sad, it is your responsibility to manage it. If you are broke, it is your responsibility to generate wealth. If you are alone, it is your responsibility to connect. You have killed all your excuses. You have burned all your ships. You are left alone in front of the mirror. That weight, that terrifying weight you feel on your shoulders right now, is the weight of your own potency. It is the gravity of your own destiny. The weak feel that weight and break. They run to find a new master, a new guru, a new addiction that tells them what to do so they don't have to carry their own soul. But not you. You have forged your neck in discipline. You have hardened your back in battle. You are designed to bear this weight. Do not complain about the weight of the crown. That weight is what keeps your feet on the ground. That weight is what reminds you that you are alive and in command. A king who complains about his burden does not deserve his throne. A king who seeks for things to be easy is a king who will soon be overthrown. Do not ask for a light life. Ask for stronger shoulders. The internal war has ended, but eternal vigilance has begun. Keep your sword clean. Keep your gaze fixed on the horizon. The world out there is a chaotic place, full of sleeping people who desperately seek someone who is awake. They look for a leader. They look for an example. Be that example, not out of vanity, but out of duty. Recess is over. Real life begins now. Put on the crown, adjust it well, feel how the cold metal presses against your temples. It hurts, right? Good. That means it is real. Now, lift your head, open the door, and go out to govern.